Hello everybody! So, I just wanted to make one more video about history and art. And I'm combining history and art for a reason. That may initially seem strange, but it'll make sense here in just a second. So, 8th graders this year, depending on a lot of factors, are either going to have world history or American history. Either way, it should be B, World History B, or American History B. So either way, your course is going to be in the OLS. Notice this is different than D2L. It looks very, very different. You don't see the widgets. It has all this purple and this green, so this clearly isn't D2L. It's different. So this is going to be just like science, where you have your units, and then you click inside of a unit, and it has all of this information here. You're supposed to go through these a couple a week. I'll show you that here in just a second. Keeping in mind, excuse me, for history, the optional lessons are not going to help your grade. When I go to pull your progress, it doesn't even show optional lessons. So my computer automatically pretends that Unit 2 only has 6 lessons. It'll say 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. It just skips over this 5. So doing this will not help you. Keep that in mind. Just like in the Science one, in the Materials tab is a lot of information. There's a reading guide, there's a document analysis, there's a student guide. You're always going to want to look at these student guides, right? The student guides are going to be huge. For learning coaches, you're going to want to spend some time in the advanced prep. It kind of guides you through what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, when you're going to do it, what you need to do it, so on and so forth. So this is World History B. For some reason, I don't have an easy view of American History B. I only have a view of American History A. So that's odd. But either way, even if you are in American History B, it's still going to be the same exact layout with the units, the lessons inside the units, and the Materials tab. Just like in science, these that have an assessment, you have to make an 80% or better on these. If you make a 75, that counts as not mastered, which doesn't help your grade. It doesn't count as a C. It counts as basically like a 0, where it just doesn't count. But the good thing is an 80 counts as like 100. So it's either a 0 or 100 based on if it's mastered or not mastered. You have to get an 80%. The OLS, right, this view here with all the green and the purple, not D2L, but the OLS, sometimes called the LMS, depending on who you're talking to. It's all about mastery. You have to get that 80. Art is tied with the history class. So those taking Intermediate World History B, your art course, let me look at that, is going to be Intermediate Art World B. I'm not sure what that R is. But here's the art for the American B kids, so I can see your art class. I just can't see your history class. So this is what the art's going to look like. And again, we have the units. If you click inside of a unit, we have lessons. You have to get an 80% on the assessments. Please spend time looking in the Materials tab. Learning coaches, check out the Advanced Prep tab. And that's basically it. So in D2L, it has a handy little calendar view that shows you, what are you supposed to do every single day. In science, I made that little pacing guide to show you exactly what you're supposed to be doing every single day. So the question is, if I'm in history, how do I know what I'm doing? And well, we have this. So no matter what history class you're in, no matter what art class you're in, this is going to apply to you. So every week you're doing 2.77% of the total. What you want is to get to 25% by the end of the first quarter, no matter what history you're in, and 50% by the end of the first semester, right? That's the second quarter. And the same is true for over here, art. And then 50% down here. So the cool thing about this is it tells you exactly where you're supposed to be each week. So at the end of September 16th, you should have 13.85%, let's just call that 14. You should have 14% of your history work done, 14% of your art done, and this is what your grade is going to be. Basically, your history grade is going to be the percentage that you did divided by 25. It's going to be a little bit more complicated than that. We're going to incorporate a few more things, but for the most part, that's where the bulk of the grade is going to get. So if you only mastered 23%, well, 23 divided by 25 is 92, so that'll get you your A. But if you only do 17%, 17 divided by 25 is a 68. So that's a high D. We'll want to improve upon that. The bare minimum to get an A, we could do 25 times 0.9. So you'll have to get at least a 23% to get your A. So 25 to get 100, 23 to get an A. As long as you're following this, you should be absolutely fine. So look at the dates. On the 9th of September, you should be at 11%. On the 30th of September, you should be at 19, so on and so forth. And semester 2 works the exact same way, where at the end of the third 9 weeks, you should be at 75. At the end of the fourth 9 weeks, it should be 100. If you're watching this video and you are a brand new student, oh, music doesn't need to be here. Let me delete that. Haha. If you're watching this and you're a brand new student, these numbers are going to be different for you. Remind me, or whoever your homeroom teacher is, and we can send you something very specific. Science is also in here because it is also a OLS class. So we have history, science, and art are your 3 OLS classes. And the numbers are just a little bit different, but they're still basically the same, right? So the end of the first 9 weeks is going to be basically 24, which is right at 25, and then 47, which is just under 50. But then in the second semester, it works out pretty well, where we have like 74 and then 100. And that's just kind of a complication of the number of lessons they did. They did 119 lessons. So that just, the math is funny with 119. If it had been 120, it would have been glorious. But it wasn't. It was 119. So the percentages don't really become perfect until the very, very end. So that is your history class, that's your art class, and that's science. How to use this document, again, super straightforward. Look at the date, right? So this is November 11th. You should be at 37% for history, 35% for science, 37% for art. Notice, too, these zeros. This is Thanksgiving break. Happy Turkey Day, right? You don't have to do any work in the OLS. This also does track your attendance, by the way. So each week you should have 30 hours, except on things like this. We have a holiday that week, so you only have to do 4 days. But at the end of every single week, this is how much attendance you should have. So at the end of the first quarter, you should have 264 hours If you're short, then those are going to count as missing days. Each 6 hours you're short is one missing day. So for example, let's say you only have 230 hours. Well, you're supposed to have 264. So that's 34 hours short. If I divide that by 6, that's 5.5 missing days of school. You better be careful because students can become truant in this setting. So even if you do something every day, if you're short on attendance, it will absolutely positively count as an absence. So if I was you, I'd print this off. Laminate it, make it a poster, hang it up on your wall. I don't know, whatever you need to do. At the end of every single week, this is how many attendance hours you should have in the OLS. I also have stuff for PE, stuff for health, stuff for safety. I'll talk about PE, health, and safety in another video, but I thought I'd go ahead and bring up the OLS attendance hours because they are super, super, super important. So that's the gist. Again, just as a quick overview, in the OLS, look at your specific unit and your specific lesson. Start at Unit 1, Lesson 1, and then keep working until you're at this 2.77%. Once you're at 2.77% at the end of week 1, you can be done with art. I didn't put how many lessons that is because it might be different depending on if you're in world or if you're in American history. So I didn't think it'd be super helpful to put that information. But no matter which course you're in, you are going to want to hit 25% by the quarter in both of these. So make sure you're keeping up with this. If you ever have any questions about this document, please let me know. Have a fantastic day. Thank you for watching.